The fine Kalahari dust danced in the hot air, dusting Dr. Anya Sharma's face. Her glasses were gritty, but her keen, eager eyes didn't miss a single detail of what was unfolding before her. For years, Anya, a renowned and naturally skeptical archaeologist, had chased whispers of an ancient, forgotten civilization buried beneath the endless sands of southwestern Africa. This time, however, something was different. A geothermal prospecting team had detected anomalies suggesting complex structures far beneath the surface. Anya, her heart pounding with anticipation and a touch of apprehension, knew she was on the brink of a discovery that could rewrite history. The scorching morning sun already promised a brutal day, and the hum of generators accompanied the rhythmic sound of shovels and picks. Anya's team, comprised of young students and experienced local technicians, worked tirelessly, each aware of the immense responsibility resting on their shoulders. The excavation advanced slowly, meter by meter, revealing layers of sand and rock that guarded millennia-old secrets. With each new fragment of pottery or worked stone, the tension mounted. There was a strange feeling in the air, as if the desert itself was holding its breath, about to reveal something monumental. Constant thirst was a given, and sweat streamed in rivers down their foreheads, but no one complained. The passion for discovery outweighed the physical discomfort. Dr. Ben Carter, a geologist and Anya's longtime colleague, wiped his brow with a grimy hand. "These readings are getting stronger, Anya," he called out, his voice a mix of exhaustion and excitement. "Whatever's down there, it's vast, and it's deep." Anya nodded, her gaze fixed on a newly exposed section of reddish earth that hinted at something artificial. A faint, almost imperceptible tremor ran through the ground, a subtle vibration that seemed to echo the silent plea of the buried past. The desert was about to speak. Days bled into weeks under the relentless African sun. The team, now accustomed to the grueling routine, had reached a depth where the sand gave way to a hardened, almost petrified layer of earth. The air grew heavier, thick with the scent of dry soil and ancient dust. Then a cry from one of the junior excavators pierced the morning quiet. "Dr. Sharma, look!" Anya rushed over, her heart leaping into her throat. Emerging from the compacted earth was the unmistakable curve of a meticulously carved stone block. It wasn't rough-hewn, it was smooth, almost polished, with intricate geometric patterns etched into its surface. This wasn't a natural formation. This was architecture. The team quickly expanded the excavation around the find, carefully brushing away layers of millennia-old sediment. More blocks appeared, then a section of a wall, meticulously fitted without mortar. It was clear they had found something extraordinary. As more of the structure became visible, a sense of awe, tinged with an inexplicable unease, settled over the site. The sheer scale of what they were uncovering was staggering. This wasn't just a small ruin, it was the edge of something massive. Ben, his eyes wide with disbelief, ran a gloved hand over the ancient stone. "This isn't just old, Anya," he murmured. "This is ancient. And the craftsmanship. It's unlike anything we've ever seen from this region." Anya, for once, was speechless. The patterns on the stone seemed to hum with a silent energy, hinting at a lost civilization far more advanced than historical records suggested. The desert had indeed spoken, and its voice was a hushed, captivating secret. With the initial discovery validating their efforts, the pace of the excavation intensified. What began as a speculative dig quickly transformed into a full-scale archaeological operation. Word had begun to trickle out, not yet to the general public, but within academic circles, generating a buzz of excitement and skepticism in equal measure. Anya, however, was too engrossed in the tangible evidence to worry about external opinions. The unearthed structure was revealing itself to be part of a vast subterranean complex, an entire city swallowed by the earth. The most captivating finds were the inscribed tablets. Crafted from a dark, obsidian-like stone, they were covered in a series of symbols and pictograms that bore no resemblance to any known ancient script. Dr. Mei Lin, a brilliant linguist who had joined the team from Beijing, spent hours poring over them, her brow furrowed in concentration. The symbols were elegant, almost lyrical, yet utterly indecipherable. "It's a complete enigma," she confessed to Anya one evening, the desert stars blazing overhead. "No known linguistic roots, no parallels. It's as if this civilization existed in a vacuum, developing its own unique form of communication." The challenge was immense, but Anya knew that deciphering these texts was crucial. They were the voice of the empire, the key to understanding its people, their beliefs, and most importantly, why they vanished. The pressure was mounting. Supplies were being flown in regularly, and security around the site had been subtly tightened. They were treading on unknown ground, not just geographically, but historically. The silence of the desert was no longer just the absence of sound. It felt like a deliberate withholding, a vast, ancient secret waiting to be unlocked. The breakthrough came unexpectedly, not from a grand reveal, but from a persistent, low-frequency hum detected by Ben's advanced geophysical equipment. It led them to a section of the complex that seemed to radiate an unusual energy signature. After days of careful excavation, they uncovered a massive circular chamber, unlike anything else found so far. The entrance, a colossal stone door, was meticulously sealed, its surface adorned with the same enigmatic symbols that now haunted Maylene's every waking moment. Anya felt a surge of adrenaline as the team prepared to open the chamber. The air was thick with anticipation, the only sound the scraping of tools against ancient stone. With immense effort, the colossal door slowly, grindingly, began to pivot inwards, revealing an interior plunged into absolute darkness. As flashlights cut through the gloom, what they saw took their breath away. The chamber was perfectly preserved, its walls covered in vivid murals depicting scenes of daily life, ceremonies, and what appeared to be celestial observations. The colors, astonishingly vibrant, spoke of a civilization with an advanced understanding of pigments and preservation. But it was the center of the chamber that drew their gaze. A massive, crystalline structure, glowing faintly with an internal light, pulsed with the same low hum Ben had detected. As Anya stepped inside, a wave of profound silence washed over her, followed by a fleeting sensation of being watched. The air was still, ancient and charged with an unseen energy. This was not merely a tomb or a temple. It was a heart that had stopped beating, yet still held a faint echo of its former life. The crystalline structure in the Chamber of Echoes became the focal point of their research. It wasn't simply a power source, though it clearly emitted some form of energy. It appeared to be a repository of information, possibly even a form of ancient data storage. Mei Lin, with renewed vigor, began to notice recurring patterns in the symbols on the crystal that mirrored those on the tablets. A hypothesis began to form. Perhaps the crystal was the key to unlocking the language. Simultaneously, Ben's geological surveys around the chamber revealed something unsettling. There were signs of immense, sudden geological upheaval around the time the empire would have collapsed. Not a slow decline, but an abrupt, catastrophic event. Fault lines, previously undetected, crisscrossed beneath the complex, suggesting a massive seismic shift. The empire hadn't simply faded away. It had been violently swallowed by the earth. The dual nature of their discoveries, a sophisticated technological marvel and evidence of sudden geological devastation, created a disturbing paradox. How could a civilization so advanced be wiped out so completely, so abruptly? The air around the crystal seemed to hum with answers just beyond their grasp. Anya felt a growing sense of urgency. The desert was revealing its secrets, but each revelation brought more questions, more layers to peel back. The initial excitement was slowly being replaced by a chilling realization that the truth might be far more complex and perhaps more terrifying than they had ever imagined. Mei Lin's breakthrough came during a sandstorm that raged outside, trapping the team within the excavated complex. The dust-filled air and the rhythmic roar of the wind seemed to sharpen her focus. She had been meticulously comparing the crystal's glowing symbols to the inscribed tablets, when a specific sequence on the crystal illuminated more brightly. It was a key, a Rosetta Stone of sorts. Slowly, painstakingly, the ancient language began to yield its secrets. The initial translated texts were astonishing, detailed records of an advanced society, their understanding of astronomy, engineering, and social structures. But then, the tone shifted. The later inscriptions, etched with a sense of growing desperation, spoke of a series of escalating natural disasters. Earthquakes, tsunamis, even in this desert region, implying a different ancient geography or massive flooding, and a strange, recurring phenomenon they called the Great Tremor from Within. As Mei Lin translated more, a chilling narrative unfolded. The Great Tremor wasn't a metaphor. It was a description of seismic activity so powerful it caused the very ground to liquefy and swallow entire sections of their cities. The empire hadn't collapsed due to war or internal strife. It had been swallowed by its own planet. The texts described desperate attempts to counteract the instability using their advanced technology, potentially even the very crystal in the Chamber of Echoes, to stabilize the ground. The final entries were fragmented, desperate pleas, filled with a profound sense of loss and the stark terror of impending doom. The translated texts painted a vivid, horrifying picture of the Empire's final days. The Great Tremor wasn't a singular event, but a series of catastrophic geological shifts that relentlessly consumed their civilization. The people of this ancient empire, far from being primitive, possessed an astonishing understanding of geophysics. They used the crystalline structures, referred to in the texts as harmonic resonators, to counteract the seismic forces. These resonators, it seemed, could stabilize the Earth's crust, dampening the tremors and protecting their cities. Anya and Ben pieced together the narrative. The Empire had built their magnificent cities on unstable fault lines, believing their technology could mitigate the risks. For centuries, it worked. The resonators hummed, holding back the Earth's fury. But the texts revealed a critical flaw. The constant strain on the resonators required immense energy, and the geological activity intensified over time. The Great Tremor from Within was the Earth's core itself reacting, an unstoppable force. The last translated entries were heartbreaking. They spoke of a final, desperate attempt to activate a colossal prime resonator, a structure far larger than the one they had found, to save their last remaining city, which they believed was this very complex they were excavating. But the effort failed. The ground beneath them gave way, swallowing everything. The murals in the Chamber of Echoes, previously seen as celebrations, now appeared as desperate prayers and warnings, depicting the Earth opening up, consuming their magnificent achievements. The realization of how the empire fell was a sobering one. It wasn't a mystery of human failing, but a tragedy of nature's overwhelming power. Yet a new question emerged, more urgent than before. Why did they build on such unstable ground in the first place? And what was the purpose of the prime resonator? Ben, constantly re-evaluating his geological models, made a startling discovery. The fault lines beneath the excavated city weren't just active. They were part of a massive, ancient continental rift zone that had been dormant for millennia, but was now showing subtle signs of reawakening. The ancient empire had built on what they believed was a stable, albeit active part of the earth. Their records showed they were aware of the larger rift, but believed it to be inactive. Their great tremor was not just a local event, but a prelude to a larger, far more dangerous geological shift. Anya felt a chill that had nothing to do with the desert night. The detailed geological data within the ancient texts, combined with Ben's new findings, suggested that the prime resonator wasn't just for localized stabilization. It was an ambitious, perhaps foolhardy attempt to influence the entire rift zone. The empire, in its hubris, had tried to control the very plates of the earth. The collapse wasn't just a local disaster, it was a consequence of their audacious and ultimately failed intervention on a planetary scale. The buried city was not just a historical site, it was a monumental warning. The final pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, revealing a complete, yet tragic picture of the ancient empire. They were not merely advanced, they were arrogant. Their technological prowess had given them a false sense of control over the natural world. The harmonic resonators were initially successful, allowing them to thrive in areas no other civilization would dare. But their ambition grew, leading them to attempt to manipulate forces beyond their comprehension. The deeper texts, now fully translated by Mei Lin, spoke of dissent within their own ranks. Warnings from their own geologists and wise elders, ignored in the pursuit of greater power and expansion. The prime resonator, intended as their ultimate salvation, was described in the final, desperate entries as a mistake, a betrayal of nature. It was not just a machine, it was the symbol of their hubris, the very device meant to save them, may have, in its colossal failure, accelerated their demise. The tremors they sought to quell became amplified. The ground beneath their feet turned against them with terrifying swiftness. Anya stood in the Chamber of Echoes, looking at the silent, glowing crystal. It was a testament to their brilliance, but also to their fatal flaw. The empire didn't collapse overnight due to a single event, but due to a series of escalating geological catastrophes, exacerbated by their own desperate, large-scale interventions. The secrets uncovered were not just about an ancient civilization, but about humanity's timeless struggle with power, ambition, and the unpredictable might of the natural world. The excavation was drawing to a close, not because they had found everything, but because the desert had given up all it intended to reveal for now. The world was now aware of the lost empire, the empire of the sunken sands, as the media had dubbed it. The initial shock gave way to intense scientific debate. While some dismissed the more extreme findings as speculative, the tangible evidence, the structures, the technology, the chillingly accurate geological records was undeniable. Anya, Ben, and Mei Lin stood at the edge of the immense excavation site, watching the sunset, painting the sky in fiery hues. The air was cooler now, but the ground still seemed to hum with an unseen energy, a memory of the Earth's ancient fury. The discovery was more than just a historical achievement. It was a profound lesson. The Empire's story was a stark warning, echoing across millennia, about the delicate balance between human ingenuity and the untamed forces of nature. They had uncovered the secrets of an advanced civilization, not of magic or myth, but of profound scientific achievement and an equally profound downfall. The true shock wasn't a supernatural event, but the raw, unadulterated power of the planet and the fragile nature of even the most sophisticated human endeavors in its wake. As Anya looked out at the vast, silent desert, she knew their work wasn't truly finished. The tremors of the past were a quiet hum beneath their feet, a reminder that the earth held secrets far older and more powerful than humanity could ever fully comprehend. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, dramatic shadows, leaving them with the haunting realization that some echoes never truly fade. If you've been gripped by the mysteries of the sunken sands, don't let the story end here. Subscribe to the channel for more incredible journeys into the past, present and future.